Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are seasoned veterans of what we do around here. We break down social, emotional, and sometimes spiritual topics into relatable language without all the jargon and BS labels. Anyway, if you're new here, please like, comment, subscribe, and have a good old time with that. If there's something we can do for you, please let us know. You can do that in the comments below. Usually, we can make an audio for you in about 24 to 48 hours when needed, and we'll be glad to do that. Today we're going to talk about the signs that someone with anxiety might be interested in you romantically. Anxiety disorder, one of the biggest growing social and emotional disorders in the world right now. People are nervous and anxious for a variety of reasons. Most of the misperception of how the world sees them or how they see themselves. But we can't deny that anxiety is a thing, and so these are a list of about 5 to 7 things that I've seen over the years that's a sign that someone with anxiety, either if you have anxiety, this is a sign you might be attaching to someone romantically, or if you're dealing with someone that has anxiety and they're kind of like acting in ways where you're like, what's up with that? It's a sign they may be interested in you. So if they constantly want your opinion on something, if they're asking you questions or getting your viewpoint on things you think they should know the answer to, for example, something like, hey, how do I look? Or, hey, what do you think about this social issue? And it's coming where, like, you walk in the room and about 17 seconds later, they say, hey, what do you think about? Or, hey, what's your opinion on? What that is they're trying to find out two things. They're trying to find out if you're willing to connect with them, because if you don't see them in any light that's positive, you're not going to be willing to talk to them at all, right? But if you stand and have a 5 or 10 minute conversation with them, they're like, hey, I can learn about this person. Nifty. And they might like me because they talk to me pretty regularly. That's one way that a person with anxiety gets past the awkwardness of having to start a random conversation with you about emotions. They'll choose neutral topics, or they'll choose topics that might enact some level of reaction that's not, negative, and see where you are. It's a fact-finding reality. And so the other thing that kind of rolls into that is their attention to detail is on point. So a person who likes you, who has anxiety, because anxiety makes a person hypervigilant, right? They're always looking for ways not to get rejected, not to get yelled at, not to have a negative emotional experience. And so what happens is that means they're tuned in, tapped in, turned on to everything you say at like this hugely high level. And so that means their attention to detail is on point. So they will remember something you said 3 weeks ago. You might say, hey, I like track 7 on this CD. And then you're talking 3 weeks later, you're talking about, hey, I really need to listen to music. And they'll pipe up with, well, why don't you listen to this song? I remember you said you liked it. And then you're left scratching your head going, I did? When did I say that? Because they remember things interacting with you, almost like creating a roadmap of how to connect with you. It's like they're creating a solve to a Rubik's cube. And so if this happens a lot, where they remember random details, I'll never forget there was a girl who, when I was working in a research field, and it was really unfortunate because I didn't realize she liked me at the time, and I was coming out of a negative relationship, and I had no idea. I was completely oblivious to the fact that she liked me at the time. But about twice a week at work, we would have days where somebody would go grab coffee, and because she worked part time at the coffee shop across the campus. I worked on a college campus, and so she worked at part time at the coffee shop, which means she could get us discounts on donuts and coffee, and who doesn't want discounts on fattening stuff, right? So she would often go. She'd go at least once a week. And without fail, she'd remember my coffee order to the T. And she would rotate, getting me like my 3 favorite coffees. Like one day she'd bring me my mocha peppermint, and the next time she'd bring me a French vanilla, and the next time she'd bring me whatever. And this went on for like 4 months before I said, hey. And what's funny is she never asked me if I want a coffee. She'd just go, and if you know me personally, or if you've dealt with me as a client, you know me and coffee are like BFFs. I'm a coffee person. I'm a caffeine person. I suffer with chronic migraines, and rather than spending about $400 a month for medication, I spend about $20 a month on coffee. And so anyway, I finally said to her one day, I was like, "Hey, how do you like? Why do you remember um, the my coffee order? Like how you never ask, you just do." And she stopped and she said, "Because you're worth remembering." It's like, well, that's nice. And then I thought, wait a minute, okay, she's interested in me now. Luckily, um, I was able to explain to her that I'm coming out of this negative situation, and this just it wouldn't be right for me to get involved with her at this point, and we remained friends. But it took me months to figure out, hey, she's interested. Of course, in my early 20s, I was really kind of socially an awkward person, and I overcame social anxiety. But um, wow, I just look back at that time and go, oh, you missed obvious signs. Anyway, the next thing is too, a person with anxiety, they'll trip over their words. They'll say things out of context in a sentence. They'll use poor language, or they'll skip a word in a sentence, or they'll try to finish your sentence without meaning to. So like you'll be talking and they'll go and blah 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 blah, blah and they're like, and you're like, yeah, wait, how'd you know that? Because what they're doing is they're actually not thinking about what they're saying. They're thinking about what your reaction is to anticipate your needs. So if you've got somebody who's constantly botching their speech around you, um, the chances are they're interested. Also, they're very open with social topics or things in the news or topics of human interest. This is because two things. Number one, they want to keep you talking as much as possible. The oxytocin, which is the a pleasure hormone, releases in their brain when they're talking to you, so they want to keep you talking as um, much as possible, as often as possible. So they will go out of their way to find things that they think you might have an opinion on, just so you'll talk to them for 5, 10, 15 minutes. This happens a lot, and it's a great way that people with anxiety use as icebreakers, conversation starters, and the like. Now, the next thing that's important here is they will often take smart risks. So if they really like you, they may say, I'm an anxious person. They may even admit to it. But for you, I'll try karaoke, or for you, I'll go on webcam, or for you, I'll do whatever it is. I'll never forget. There's this one there's this one situation where, and it didn't work out for me. I had this crush on this girl who, and I'm telling you personal stories just to make this more relatable. Let me know in the comments if you kind of like the personal story aspect of what we're doing. But anyway, um, so I like this girl, and I'm in my early 20s. I didn't really find myself relationally until probably 25 to 27 in terms of what I really liked and the type of person that was good for me. Of course, I still made some bad relationship choices after that, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, um, so so I like this girl, and she was a wonderful singer, just fabulous voice. And I have a tune. I have a voice you can carry. You couldn't carry a tune in with a 12-handled bucket. It's just not me. Although I've gotten better. The more confidence I got, the better my voice got. So I don't necessarily think now, looking back at it, it's that I had a bad voice. It's that I think I had a lack of confidence that messed with my voice. Anyhow, so she was a karaoke person, and she's like, "Hey, come out to the karaoke bar with us." A group from work went, about 6 or 8 people. Like, okay, I'll come. And so I'm just thinking I'll go and watch. Well, here we are. And she's like, all right, your turn. Nah? No, this is not acceptable. And so she's like, nah, really, come on, Scott. And I'm like, okay. So I got up there and I sang horribly in front of about 50 people. And it's something I never would have done if she hadn't been present, but because she was pushing and urging it, um, um, I took a smart risk and I left my comfort zone for that reason. So, a person with anxiety who likes you, chances are they'll do that. And then the last one, and for the record, just somebody remind me. I'll tell the whole story of that how that relationship unfolded in a story time at some point. Just remind me about Karaoke Girl if you're interested in that. Comment below if you're interested. Anyway, so the last thing that a person with anxiety will do is they will overthink everything. So they may bring up a conversation from 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks ago or even months ago, and they'll say, "What did you mean when you said this?" Or "Could you teach me more about that?" Or because they're trying to find, again, it's that portfolio of what you like, what you don't like, how they fit into your world, how you fit into their world, and so they'll overthink every interaction repetitively. These are signs that a person with anxiety really does have an interest that may be romantic in you. Have you ever dealt with this? Comment below. And if you are dealing with this or you're dealing with anxiety or stress, please feel free to reach out. I do coach people with those challenges, and so you can reach out on Twitter at PO Perception, or you can do so by leaving a message in the YouTube message box right here on YouTube. Get back to you within a couple of days normally, and hope to be helpful to you. In any event, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.